Hearth. So let's see if HeroesHearth can send it home with this next one. It's going to be Battlefield of Eternity that we go to. Team 12 chooses Battleground pick to take us to Battlefield of Eternity, home turf for Team 12.
We'll see what type of strategies come out, whether it is revolving around the Li Ming again, which did not have the success as it had in previous games. And right now, it really feels like HeroesHearth, the strategies that we've seen them kind of approach this weekend with, yesterday worked out well, but here are a few games, you know, they're trying different things that we haven't quite seen from a lot of other teams. Still a lot of the same, you know, pieces, but it's put together slightly different. So having that last one, the solo Ana, with the Li Ming and a Samuro, maybe not quite up to snuff yet.
And remember, that started out with a Blaze ban. HeroesHearth has the advantage of having seen all of the games that Team 12 played yesterday versus Gale Force Esports. So they dealt with the Blaze first game, didn't work out so well for them. They banned that out. They know that Tyrael is a high priority as well for Team 12. And it shows that they have ways of being able to deal with that if they can't ban it, if they have to let it through. So we're seeing that HeroesHearth has done their homework, which is what you would hope to see and hope to expect from this team coming into the series.
They seem to have Blaze in their sights, as you just mentioned, so go with it again. That seems to be a key component that Team 12 has adapted, but by no means is it their only one, so still expect plenty here.
Team 12 quite a lot was picking Li Ming early on Battlefield of Eternity, even first picking it when they went into triple warrior mode. Versus Gale Force, they did switch things up. They played more of the Hanzo Malthael style, and they had Tyrael and Blaze with that. No Blaze. Blaze isn't a thing. They may get Tyrael. Doesn't seem like HeroesHearth has any interest in playing him yet. Or it might just be that it's a higher priority for Team 12. We'll have to see from that. Team 12, though, trying to figure out what the best ban is here.
There's so much to consider around the Greymane Genji Hanzo right now. Crowan has played an amazing Hanzo. He's normally near the top. I'm excited to see the stats after this weekend in terms of how high he actually is on the Hanzo. The Tyrael ban, which means that Greymane, Hanzo, and Genji have all been let through. I feel that if you're going any direction, Greymane would have higher priority than potentially giving up a Greymane Genji on the other side to Team 12.
Team 12 at least has the, no matter what they get there, they get Uther with it, if that's where they want to go with that. And that might be the best play. Put BBJ back on something else. See if his Lucio worked out really well, but test him a bit.
I mean, this has to be Hanzo or Greymane. They are devising strategies, I think, around that in their own draft and potentially the counter picks that could be coming out from Team 12. If it's anything beyond that, be a little bit surprised.
How big of a fear is Abathur with those kinds of power picks up, though, too?
That is true. I mean, technically, it's highly unlikely that the enemy team would take Greymane and Hanzo. So if you wanted to go a different route, you might get one of the two that's left over.
Every death comes on.
Hanzo.
Honor, redemption.
So Genji Uther's up, Greymane Uther's up.
Tassadar Uther is up if it goes back the other side.
Yeah.
That's what I'm scared of. Greymane Uther here seems really appealing.
Yeah. Buds hasn't been super successful with Uther. Not that he's... They just find more success with other supports. Like, he's played a lot of Lucio and found success from that. Malfurion too. But it does seem more... Uther is way more highly focused from HeroesHearth, but I agree. I don't know if I'd be willing to give that up.
I mean, it is tried and true for HeroesHearth, especially in Crowan's role. So if you're gonna give that up, then you're gonna have to draft around it. And being the team drafting to counter the other team is not always the best thing. It can work. There you go, Genji.
Yes.
Uther.
Abandons no man.
Leaves up Greymane. That may get picked, may get banned by HeroesHearth, but it does let Team 12 make sure that they have this really powerful pick for team fights and the support necessary to enable it.
Hanzo Greymane It's not bad, but I don't see that here for Heroes Hearth.
Yeah, that's kind of why I was mentioning a ban.
Yeah, I think that it'll definitely have to approach the second ban phase unless they surprise us here, but ETC still available, as we've seen BBJ play.
Even if Greymane got banned, Team 12 could go the double reset mode with a Li Ming Genji. So I like that 1-2 pick for them. It's not as race oriented, but it does let them try to make sure that they're gonna win the fights, and they can be pretty dominant here. Early Malthael to ensure it makes it through the second ban phase, and the Tassadar.
It gives them good team fight potential, and it gives them good race. I mean, Malthael gets that percentage-based damage, so you can always kind of casually poke away if it comes to a stall area. Tassadar, obviously, we've seen the pairing with Hanzo so far, going into the auto attack. Just a matter of getting, you know, the cooldown reduction potentially at 4 and 7 to really kind of make that work. But either way, Tassadar fits into there. And Malthael, of course, Tormented Souls against Uther. So it's a strong start to the draft. But with Team 12, still 3 picks left. Still a lot to be done with it.
What's going to set that up for success now? Is it a support? Are they looking at the next highest played as Rhaegar and the Ancestral Healing as enabling Malthael? Is it Karazim?
Feels like it probably may be more Karazim than anything. But as we've seen so far, it could just as easily just be a Lucio.
Yeah.
Well, it won't be a Lucio now.
That's what I thought it was. As you were talking, I was like, no, it's gotta be Lucio. And it's not, because it's banned.
There's the Abathur Fear. You know, I'm trying to think of how I would feel about Tracer here. Not now, but like at least in the draft somewhere for Team 12, in the last pick specifically. I think that'd just be it's very aggressive when you go Genji Tracer, but there's certain teams that I've seen pull it off where I'm like, all right, you know, that definitely works. And then I look at the side of Hanzo Tassadar, and then potentially, you know, you're looking at Malfurion, Stukov. There's not a lot of supports left that, I mean, Karazim Palm would pretty much be the only go-to option beyond that, but Karazim will be locked in before your last pick.
Not a ton of the synergy that we traditionally see with her, but teams have made that work nonetheless. A Tracer pick work. Looking for a warrior, we'll get ETC and the Li Ming Genji. Double reset across the sky.
Did you see that temporal loop Dragon Knight kick? See that clip yet?
No.
He was temporal looped, and he was kicked by the Dragon Knight, so it was just like this arcing sand, like all the way across the screen.
That's awesome.
So ETC Li Ming gives them the tried and true composition of power slide, easy skill shot, follow-up. Now, if you're on the side of Heroes Hearth, you have to consider, do you go Johanna, which is a little bit safer pick to deal with that, or do you go Muradin like you did last game, which was played well? I think there's a couple things to consider. I can't see much beyond those two warriors, especially with Blaze and Tyrael already banned out.
Ishbu's played quite a bit of a new Barak. You've got Scarabs to try to deal with, or soak up some of the Li Ming skill shots. We get Ishbu's Diablo and BBJ's Rhaegar.
Oh man, I'm not gonna lie to you, Gilly. Rhaegar against Genji is just so hard. Like, it is, because self-heal, right? The chain heal is now a flat number across however many people it hits, right? You can't self-ancestral, and the shield is only going to go so far, which is likely going to be prioritized for Hanzo. If you get even to half health on Rhaegar, you are looking for a Genji Dragon Blade immediately. And you cannot save Rhaegar in that case. You have to go all in, and if you've got a D-shield on Genji, like, Rhaegar is literally throwing out Ancestral, and then he's waiting to respawn. That's just how it works against the Genji. And I'm afraid for that with the Rhaegar pickup here.
I hear you. There's not a whole lot to try to keep people off of him, and Dahaka just adds to that with a drag.
They do have strong initiation, as we've seen with that force wall into the Diablo stun. I don't know if we'd see Archon, especially when that can be so powerful. I think Archon is definitely viable and might just be there for the double shift to make sure and get out of there. If there is the dive, that'd be really one of the main reasons. It gives you more offensive style plus defensive, but in terms of like team synergy and getting those picks, force wall might be too much to consider.
There are a lot of chokes where you can try to split out with a force wall, but I'm also thinking of trying to funnel Team 12 in through some of those chokes, as well as gates. We have seen HeroesHearth use that combo on a lot of gates, and it's because if you Dragon's Arrow people as they're going through the gates, you hit a few and you hit Apocalypse underneath at the right time. Not everyone's gonna make it out because you're running through your teammates' Apocalypse. I call it the old Char and Scar, and let's see how it works out for HeroesHearth. If they can win this game, they will get a series win over Team 12, and that would be such a great way to end Week 3 for HeroesHearth.
That would be a pretty bold statement if you're HeroesHearth to stake your claim there, but everything here pretty much across the board looks standard, Power Hungry being the pickup. Hanzo, hard to imagine it wouldn't be redemption with a Tassadar, but he's sitting on it for the moment.
Yeah, you've got simple geometry if you want more of the scatter arrows. And he's gonna go for that.
Goku Genji, by the way. Goku Genji, Cure on Dahaka.
Wait, what?
Yeah, I did not expect that at all. There's something about that matchup. The Dahaka maybe Cure his time on Dahaka in the previous iteration of this team. Trying to hit the max range tongue, unable to hit that, so he'll get a little bit of essence and burrow charge up top. Or just burrow. Brush Stalker.
Don't worry, buddy. I've been saying crazy things too. It's been a weekend. Feels all topsy-turvy with HeroesHearth with a 2-1 over Team 12 so far.
We do get the scatter arrow build.
Yeah.
Kelly, you did mention that with the simple geometry. I'm just trying to figure out. So Block Party was picked up on the side of ETC. That's kind of what brought it back to. It's a fun interaction trying to shadow charge as a power slide comes through. It really brings up with Block Party especially. I mean, your auto attacks are going to be really tough to come across. You are full in on getting that spread damage as well as race.
Yeah, it kind of feels like it's more focused toward that execution of the combo that we have seen them execute so well. If they believe that a lot of their success in team fights comes out of being able to filter in Team 12 into a choke point and hit the Dragon's Arrow into the Ishbu Apocalypse, and we're talking about synergy. Power Slide, Cure stalking in, gets the drag, so they'll take out First Blood. But HeroesHearth with this 2-3 is doing significant damage to the top lane structures.
Yeah, getting in some of these minions here to deny experience will help mitigate some of their losses when it comes to losing Hanzo.
Another thought for the simple geometry might just be that you want to have 2 extra scatter arrows, so when you take serrated arrows at 4, you have more arrows for ripping through the immortal. Yeah. Control the immortals and you control the positioning of Team 12 even better. You force them back into their base, you force them to retreat. You set them up so that they're on the run, and that's when that composition comes alive with the combos.
We see Team 12 here. They're grabbing their Shaman Camp, and in response, HeroesHearth will be grabbing theirs, and the Hanzo going to be a little bit quicker. That way they make sure they have it in time for the 3-minute Immortal, which will be here in a matter of moments.
Team 12 are making sure they get right out and aggress up to the top, which is where Malthael's trying to sneak a camp. He sees that and backs right on out. No, thank you, Team 12. You can have me leash this. The Immortals are set up. Team 12 doing some structure damage up in the top. This is going to bring up HeroesHearth to try to do a little bit of a chunking to the Immortal.
Goku diving on the backside to Crowan, but the charge into the wall. Oh, the flip was going to go over, but nice power slide in by Justin.
Now McIntyre will be back and forth, doesn't have on a pale horse to get the rotation between lane and the Immortal a little bit faster, but it's his job to try to find places to go in, throw out the Death Shroud, get the mark on the Immortal, then go back up and soak. He'll be back and forth to do that. Meanwhile, the team's starting to rotate down. Crone in danger as Goku gets that kill, setting up for a little bit of reset action for Dansky, as he'll throw a combo over the wall and do chunking damage to that Diablo.
Yeah, Ishbu had actually gone down right as Dahaka brush stalkered in, and then the chase ensued. So good play there by Cure to come in that backside and help get that. And it was a really fun interaction because Diablo actually was shadow charging in and actually ate that tongue that was intended for Crone, but still ended up dying anyways.
Justin has got the Ishbu in his sights every time he charges in, knocking him around. But still, with a flip over, Buds goes down as the swap happens. And HeroesHearth pushing back Team 12. They rotate around. Looking like they're going to try to defend, at least for a little bit, slow things down, soak up some of those Dansky shots, while they get the lead in the Immortal.
Cure in prime position to get max value off that wall for this race. I mean, Ishbu's going to go down, but they're going to get the Immortal. I mean, that would have been even faster had he had level 7, but as you said, just Hanzo race. He's almost done with his level 1. Could have been a little bit faster in level 7. If he goes to cooldown reduction, will be even faster, and he does.
All right, are we going to get Diabolical Momentum some more for more combos, more controls, or has Ishbu felt the burn of all of the attacks? Yeah, he's going to go for Soul Shield. It's going to help him a lot with the Li Ming damage, Genji damage too, those Swift Strikes.
So this is something I was actually making note of just this weekend, is that the old school kind of team expert style was that you knew that the shield on the Immortal wasn't that great. So you send your solo laner down to the opposite, and then you 4-man push up there. You end up getting an entire wall and some fort damage. That's kind of the trade-off that you get. If they had a different composition, they might have been able to get even more. Good cleanse there by BBJ.
Excellent. Kira was gunning for it, getting the drag. McIntyre's been in the bottom, taking that camp. Ishbu's keeping an eye on this top one. While he does so, we're seeing Team 12 rotate down to clear out that lane, and they'll have to clear out the camp too. Goku's going to see if he can get the catch on McIntyre, who dodges through Justing and the power slide. Excellent job by McIntyre to stay alive there.
Calculated. He knew exactly what was coming, applied his Reaper's Mark, and then used the juke. I mean, that is... McIntyre seems to be settling in well. I mean, he had a rough start, admittedly. He would admit it his own self during week 1, but as the season's gone on, he has done nothing but improve his play and impress. And it's always been there. It's just a matter of getting comfortable and making it happen. He's doing it, man. He's definitely doing it.
Yeah, it seemed like he knew that those ganks on him were going to be very likely, and with all the mobility that Team 12 has, the global of Cure and then the Genji too, that Fear the Reaper is a really nice pickup because you can move through other units from that and get the movement speed bonus. He's stayed very safe despite multiple gank attempts. We've got another one as Cure stalks in. Ishbu, though, uses that to his advantage to push on through. With the cleanse, he'll be just fine.
This BBJ is just on point. I mean, I don't know if that one was really close to landing. Diablo has a really high hitbox. You got to get out of here. They really want that fort. I don't think those minions, they might... Nope, they changed priority target. I mean, HeroesHearth left just in time, but they are close enough. No cleanse available there.
Man, Team 12 has been all about the fights, and HeroesHearth has just not really been willing to give it to it unless they've got a huge advantage. But finally, Team 12 hit their mark. They get 2 very fast kills. The harassment in on McIntyre's BBJ is there. No heroic abilities available for HeroesHearth as Goku starts hacking and slashing through that Malthael. And Isolation 2 dragging BBJ back into the fray. With Goku still there, a wave of force. Dimensional Shift gets Arthalon out, but not so much. Just kidding. Full team wipe as team at 12 look good.
That Force of Will got dropped down behind the gate. All I saw was like the little purple image of Li Ming. But I think that went a lot worse than it should have for HeroesHearth. It seems like somebody's trying to save somebody, somebody's trying to save somebody else. And sometimes you just kind of got to let them go, man. And they were unable to do that. Now that gives the lead to Team 12. They've kicked off the halftime show without much of a fight back here from HeroesHearth.
Yeah, Team 12 kind of marking their territory over Battlefield of Eternity. finally getting fights and having a lot better luck at starting engagements than they had in the past with the Johanna composition. But now McIntyre is going to be on a lot of people. Mosh pit used. Apocalypse goes down. There's a lot of people standing on that as Ishbu fires forward. Dansky in danger. ETC and Dansky down 2 kills as HeroesHearth get back in with their combo. And they're body blocking Kira until they take him down. Just kidding. He stalks out just barely.
Are you
he
kidding
is
me?
so low.
And he put down the spray.
That's all you need.
That is
all
how you do it. Ah, Goku. So much fun. But now the race is here. You know, there was a really good cleanse onto that ETC during the mosh, but the staggered CC as the APOC came in as that wore off worked out very well for them. And now when you have Hanzo,
Patience.
you can couple this because this Immortal pushes the weakest or the strongest lane. So that will be the bottom. So they're going to get a Shaman camp to come in behind it.
Team 12 will do the same. They'll have that in the top. That might draw some of HeroesHearth up there.
I think it's going to have to because that will trade off a fort. Like that 100% trades a fort. And we already see Malthael going up. And so look for Team 12 at this point, Gilly. Once this fort goes down, it is very possible that Goku will brush Stalker in behind this team fight and look to try and get a gank and take the fight behind the Immortal. This Immortal's early enough that you can fight behind it. I think HeroesHearth recognizes that threat.
Yeah, they need to keep eyes on those vents, which they are doing. They hear the stalk. They're moving back. Move back even further. That scares away. They even use the force wall just to make sure, but now they know where Kira's at. They don't have McIntyre here. McIntyre's up at the top. He didn't have Tormented Souls yet, and they don't have Ancestral Healing, so they just can't quite be as aggressive as they would like, but they at least take out the fort. They defend their own top fort. They're still leading in structures. They're still leading in experience. Slightly.
Yeah, one of the things that Goku did there was that he actually stood in the vent directly above where we saw McIntyre there a second ago. And so by hiding there, HeroesHearth was forced to be kept honest. And they were sending McIntyre hopefully to get eyes on Goku. But again, Goku's experience in this role, those are just some of the small things you do. You expect that out of people, but Goku just exemplifies everything that you want in a solo laner. And just making sure to try and get that. They lose just a fort and nothing else in the process.
I just have to say, though, that Team 12, a lot of this time has been so interested in team fighting. They're going to get an opportunity again as they've got the charge into the force wall. And a lot of times in most of these games, HeroesHearth has been sort of baiting it, but also making sure that they're split pushing. They use their globals. In the last fight, they were split pushing up in the top. They got caught for it and they were punished for it. They were wiped. But it's Team 12 who has had to get back into this game through those team fights, and it's felt like that in a lot of these. And that's what's been amazing, and that HeroesHearth can do that to a team as formidable as Team 12. And the Apocalypse went down, the Dragon's Arrow did not connect, so the start of this combo has not been favorable for HeroesHearth, but it has been good for Team 12 as they take out Tassadar quickly, and they're charging forward, J-Howe.
They're charging forward. McIntyre doing everything he can to stay alive, which was not enough as HeroesHearth suffers 2 people down in that fight. Now Team 12 will look to take a camp potentially that is not there. They rotated up, said, hey, it's not there. And they don't have a great sieging composition, so they can't just walk up to the fort, so they'll wait for this to spawn, maybe look for another kill. It's hard to get value out of things sometimes.
Yeah, they have their global to keep lanes pushing. And they have the Genji and the Dansky poke for those long, drawn-out Immortals. But it's when they lose the Immortals, when they have to back off, that Hanzo can just rip through one. They do good damage here before they back off. They don't force halfway, but they do good damage.
And that's a big step for them. It's much harder for Krohn to land from this side, as you can see. Getting that simple geometry down is not as easy as it seems. Sometimes you just try and bounce it a little bit. See if he can continue. There it goes. And that will chunk away.
Yeah, and as we know with HeroesHearth's comp, it's very heroic dependent. There's still a lot of heroic abilities that are there, not Dragon Blade, but Divine Shield's going to be up in a few, and Team 12 can be more of the aggressors, knowing that they have a lot of those heroic abilities, and that HeroesHearth are sort of still waiting on having their full combo, although it's just about here now. But Team 12 are hoping that they can get the poke in to force halfway. Nice force wall into the charge.
I was going to say, I was about to call it. You saw them try that a moment before. They tried to get the force wall onto the stun, get the follow-up. That forces the cleanse out. Now you only have the Divine Shield. So they'll try and make a similar play. But with this being on a safe side, for Team 12. They might be able to just go in and do this.
As long as they're bullying the Ishbu, but the Dragon's Arrow hit, the Apocalypse underneath it as the combo once again does work to Team 12. Goku has the Dragon Blade, but he is far too low. In fact, he is just gone and can't do anything to stop this, and that's the point. It was a scary spot to fight for the idea that it was HeroesHearth Immortal, but also HeroesHearth, it's those kinds of points where that combo is just devastating to a team. Team 12 could have lost a lot more. They only lost the 2, they'll be back up, but it gives the time again for HeroesHearth to get another Immortal.
Hanzo, by the way, just casually just taking them down. I am surprised that Team 12 only made it out of there with 2 people that went down.
Me too. Looking at those health bars and how well that combo hit. McIntyre was on just about everybody with his Tormented Souls, and where the APOC was, the arrow too, that's the execution we expect from HeroesHearth, especially with that comp.
With Divine Shield down, HeroesHearth has kind of a one-shot, right? They don't have APOC, but they still have the charge into a Force Wall. They'll have one opportunity to get a kill off of that. Goku jumping right over it. Force Wall again in just a matter of seconds. Once this gate goes down, they'll see if they can make it happen.
There's an arrow too. There's a Force Wall. Blink away as the teleport comes down from Dansky. Flip over.
Doesn't have 16 to get that reset just yet.
Roasting takes a bunch of damage.
There it is.
There it is, the combo. It's on Buds, but it's more designed just to allow the team to safely take that keep. This is about a half health Immortal still, but HeroesHearth didn't get the combo yet. Great Cleanse gets ETC out. Ishbu catches Goku. Hammer of Justice stops the flip, allows Goku to escape. Buds saving the day there.
That is money. There's a cleanse onto Ishbu, but the knockback is there. The Force Wall is out. Let's see, Dragon Blade coming in on the backside. The Ancestral is going to land onto McIntyre, and now they're going in. Dansky is going to get it flipped over. Dansky goes down.
Man, and the 1v1, Diablo reigns supreme there over Li Ming. A mosh pit catches 2 underneath the core, but Justin just goes down. This looks like it might just be HeroesHearth Esports taking out Team 12. And what would be the upset of the weekend as they bring down the core. HeroesHearth proves just why they're here in HGC and that they can contend with the top of North America.
Wow. I think everybody that expected this is probably just non-existent, right? You've got to be a big-time HeroesHearth fan to think that you're going to come in and 3-1 Team 12. But HeroesHearth, I've been hyping them up. Some people would say too much as we've started 2018, but I knew the potential that they had. You know, when I talked to McIntyre this week, I'm like, man, it looks like you guys are settling in. It looks like the potential's starting to come around. He's like, just give us time. Just give us time. I think their time is now. Like, that looked good.
The time is up, the time is now. Taking out Team 12 in the series of the weekend. I would say now, looking back at all of that, HeroesHearth bided their time. They watched Team 12 versus Gale Force Esports. They saw maybe where they could get the win on Tomb. It didn't work out there. But they watched Towers of Doom. They figured out what was going to work for them drafting-wise. And they came in not just as the newer team that can do well in team fights, which is what we thought would happen with these newer teams, right? They have these long-standing rosters who have the synergy necessary to bring the fights, but they had the rotations to go along with it. This looks like a top-tier team right now.
It does, and some of it kind of revolved around all of a sudden they started first banning Blaze, and they're like, what if we take this out of the equation? And I do wonder with Team 12, we saw Goku on Genji there and Cure on Dahaka. And so we saw a little bit of change. We saw a mix-up in the draft just a little bit, and we saw that, and I wonder if that's just something that they're working through, trying to evolve some of that, because with a few minor role swaps on certain heroes, it brings up a question, is that really needed? Because in game 1, when they had a very standard draft, I mean, they just annihilated HeroesHearth. But after that, I mean, all steam was in favor of HeroesHearth.
Yeah, they had a lot of steam. Let's check out that last fight, J-How, because things got dicey real fast for Team 12.
Yeah, the cleanse here, and if we just pause it here, I mean, the biggest thing is, like, Ishbu on the backside is the main thing, and he's going to have his eyes set towards Dansky. And the fact that Dansky turns around allows him to grab that, which allows another charge, and then the fire stomp there, and that was one of the biggest parts of that team fight.
That fight happened on 3 different fronts, and here it converged back together. But Ishbu diving so deep had the souls to survive going in and taking out this critical part of the team fight. McIntyre doing a lot to the mid, and then the rest were left to kind of deal with Cure, and they pushed them all forward. McIntyre had to be dealt with, so Cure was coming back in. They had already lost Dainsky. Even right from the start, Goku had taken a lot of damage there. The cleanse was good to stop him from the initial start of that fight. It made HeroesHearth leave, but then he was starting to retreat, and then the Divine Shield came out. Goku was like, okay, I can turn back around and fight. It felt like maybe for whatever reason, HeroesHearth just really had Team 12 on the ropes, maybe just not feeling or figuring that HeroesHearth was going to come in and be that dominant.
It really feels good, because if you actually go, the amount of cleanses that BBJ hit that game were just, it was like every single time it mattered, and it mattered in a big way. And it was really nice to see that. The play from Ishbu and BBJ, I alluded to the fact, them getting the newcomers getting settled into their positions. It now seems like they're coming into their own against a tough team where nerves have to be high. You need this series win. You're going against one of the top teams in North America, and to come out and to play the way that both of those did, I mean, that is really impressive. And HeroesHearth, if all those pieces are functioning well, you can say Krone, you can say BBJ, you can say Arthalon, McIntyre on his Dahaka on Towers of Doom. I mean, all pieces are functioning well for them.
And for Team 12, we heard about yesterday how they felt like they had the Gold Club World Championship curse. And a lot of that falls to having an early lead, getting an early keep, but not being able to actually finish out the games. Here, a lot of times, it wasn't even possible for them. The HeroesHearth just played the global game so well. They had great team fights in that last game, though Team 12 were doing their darndest to win the team fights themselves. But the changes that we've seen, although Game 1 looked really strong for Team 12, I think it just feels like, one of those adjustment periods. Team 12 trying to do what it takes for them to reach the next level, make sure they're on good competition level by the time we start looking at the Western Clash.
Yeah, minor setback versus the long-term future is always going to be something. I mean, you've got to work through certain things to get to a higher tier. Sometimes you take 1 step back to move 2 steps forward, as the old saying would go. So it's not a huge detriment. Obviously, it hurts them in the standings, but it also kind of keeps them, especially their matchup next weekend will be particularly interesting. But the top of North America looks slightly different. I don't think anybody expected Team 12 to go down here, but with HeroesHearth and Galeforce both picking up series wins, there's more contention, not just for the 4th spot, but now the 3rd and potentially 2nd.
Yeah, that's a great point. We do not know who is going to be going to the Western Clash, and it could be anyone's ball game right here. Team Freedom looks pretty good. They look fairly secure. A win over Team 12 would probably seal the deal there. We haven't done the math yet, but not having a single loss yet looks really good for them. And Tempo Storm only having the singular loss so far versus Team Freedom also looks pretty good there. But man, it was a crazy weekend now toward the end. We had what we thought was expected results all the way until that last change-up.
I mean, I came in, I said it on stream. I wasn't kidding. Like, I honestly believe that after what I'd seen from these teams, that this could be one of our better series. We didn't get 5 games, but we got 4 incredible games. And we got the underdog. At this point, I don't know if you can call them that, HeroesHearth moving their way up, and they came in and they put on a show. I mean, every single one of these games was just, the Volskaya game was a clinic in terms of rotations, but then we had these great, exciting team fights in games, I think, between 1, 2, and 4. They were really fun.
Well, we're waiting on Ishbu to hear from him. Ishbu still undefeated with his Diablo. Looked pretty good.
It looked pretty good. I mean, at what point do you think, all right, look, Hanzo, Tassadar, and then the Diablo, and it was really, I mean, it was every time they're looking for it, right? And it seemed that whenever they want it, it's kind of there. There was a really good cleanse on the side of on Buds, right, to get that one out. But then with his Hand of Protection, it requires you to get auto attacks in before you get the next one. Luckily, there was enough time where that came in. But it was forcing out all of these big moments for such a long cleanse, the Hand of Protection, versus the ability of a Force Wall and the Shadow Charge are much, much quicker.
Right, and that's what's so cool about that composition, and this team is the team that runs it the best, is it's a 2-pronged attack. You have those longer heroic ability cooldowns for the big combo, right? You're reliant more on the Apocalypse, that's longer than Dragon's Arrow, but then in between, there are still lots of possibilities for you to still be able to get picks, and that is crucial. That's what separates it from just your normal Wombo combo composition, where you're completely reliant on like the Void Prison with the Ring of Frost underneath, right?
It is, and I actually think that towards the end there, they had another Dragon's Arrow into APOC right around the core. I mean, it's so much fun to watch when you can see it actually work. I mean, sometimes you'll see it's hit or miss, but Crowan, it's still a skill shot. You have to land it. It's a big skill shot, but you still have to land it, and he landed it when it mattered. And the communication that you have to pull these off, one of the biggest points for me when I look at Heroes Hearth is a matter of they function well together, not just in wombo combos, but as you said, some of the shorter cooldowns, and it seems they're on the same page. And communication, you have to have that to make that work. And as this team evolves, and obviously they've been together the longest at this point, going back to the Open Division days, it seems to be functioning pretty well, and communication seems to be on point.
Well, we've been talking a lot about North America. Obviously, we are the NA region, but looking at the standings of Europe and Korea, are there any big shakeups, any big change-ups that you have seen that have caught your eye within those as we continue to march toward the clashes?
Yeah, Method put on a show this morning, and Liquid...
Yeah, they did.
Liquid, I mean, they started strong, and now we're like, where do they sit? But Method started slow, and now they're picking up steam behind the Schwimpy train that went on today. That was absolutely terrifying. So that shake-up right there, Method, people weren't sure if they could live up to the hype. They have probably the scariest backline duo in Europe between Nick and Schwimpy, and so for them to kind of come together and start getting a lot of that, value that you would think that they would have is pretty terrifying for the rest there. I'd venture to say that as that team evolves, I'd love to see another rematch, after Western Clash when we get to Phase 2 between Dignitas. That's going to be a fun one.
Well, we are having some technical issues for the interview with Ishbu, so we're going to switch over to Crowan, and we'll have him momentarily, but actually we have him right now, so let's check back in. I was just going to gush about Schwimpy some more, but let's gush about this player. Hey, Crowan, congratulations. Did you guys, coming in today, tell the truth, feel like you had what it took to take down Team 12?
Honestly, telling the 100% truth, I think that we did.
Awesome.
I think that, I think that though we're improving every week, as I said last time, and I think that once we are at our peak, our pinnacle, like we can be a top North American team, #1.
So tell me what it was that enabled you guys to be able to take down Team 12, because it wasn't just that you guys won the series. You had a 3-1 dominant win, even on Towers, which is a Team 12 favored battleground and battlefield.
Yeah, no, I think that we were getting 3-1s, and we're like, wait a minute, we can just 3-1 them, and that'll be even better.
Did you prepare specifically for any comps that you saw from them versus Gale Force? What was the game plan? Were you just going to come in and run your own thing?
I think we're good at running our own thing a lot of the time. We have a very diverse draft strategy, and we were able to implement that today.
Well, awesome. Congratulations. It was epic. Great job, Crowan. Jahan?
Thank you.
Crowan, it seems as the season has gone on, obviously you guys have been together a while, but it seems like you guys are just kind of getting your footing to open up the year. And communication, for me, watching you guys pull off all of the combos that you do you feel like that's your strong point to pull off the types of combos, not just the wombo combos? And what's that like in communication when it works so well?
Well, it definitely feels good when something like that works out really well, and I think that is one of our strong suits. It's something that we know that, say we're behind in a game, we can always just pull off a big combo and get back in it.
Well, you on Hanzo has been absolutely terrifying. Are you surprised that you're getting Hanzo as much as you are?
I'm not sure. Drafting has been interesting recently with the certain changes, and Cheerial's now certainly very priority, and people are starting to not ban the Shamadas. So, yeah, I'm not sure. I am pretty comfortable on Hanzo, but on other heroes too, so we'll see how teams respond to it.
Okay, we're at week 3. I'm going to ask a similar question. Hanzo or Greymane?
All right, I might have to pick Hanzo this time. But
all right,
still Li Ming is still in the back of my mind one day.
Always there in the back of your mind. Congratulations, man, on this big victory for you guys.
All right, Crowan, you've got Simplicity coming up next weekend. Thoughts on that match?
I think that we're going to win that matchup pretty decisively.
Yeah, you willing to give us what your projected score would be?
Do I 3-1 or 3-0?
All right. Well, good luck in that one. Congrats again. Huge congrats on your win over Team 12. And any shout-outs before you go?
Yes. First of all, shout out to Heroes Hearth. Make sure everyone checks out HeroesHearth.com. It's a wonderful community website where you can look at everything from builds to tier lists, to guides, and it's really wonderful. And I highly recommend it. No bias at all. But past that, shout outs to my team. I think that we've been improving a lot, and we're still keeping going. Shout out to you all for casting. Shout out to Twitch chat, as always, for supporting us. Much love. And yeah, that's about it.
Hey, thanks so much, Crowan. Oh man.